This week we're at Brighton Park for a track battle with a difference, where we'll be pitting this Renault Sport Clio Cup one-make racer against the Audi R8 V10 Plus supercar. Can a 220 horsepower slick-shod hot hatch beat a 542 brake horsepower supercar? As ever, there's only one way to find out. Okay, so we're in the R8 V10 Plus, and this is actually Evo's fast fleet car. In fact, it's my fast fleet car, so lucky boy. And it's an absolutely mighty thing to live with every day. It's got so much performance, and yet, as you'd expect from an R8, it's incredibly usable. So we thought we'd have a bit of fun, and we'd bring it along to Brighton Park and see what sort of lap time we can set in this car, and then compare it to Clio one-make racer, so hot hatch but race prepared with slicks and race suspension. So not your average track battle, but something which should be quite interesting, I think. This car has 542 horsepower, 5.2 litre V10, and it weighs just over 1,500 kilos, so quite a potent package, but not a stripped out track car. It's on its regular road tyres, so we're not going to gain any time there, but it's got carbon brakes and it's mid-engined and it's a bona fide supercar. So let's see how much speed we can get out of it. We're not going to do the showboating this time, we're just here for speed. So the real joy of this R8, even in V10 Plus spec, is that it's an everyday supercar. It does the everyday stuff brilliantly, but on a track that gives it slightly soft edges. It's not as aggressive as a 650S McLaren, it's not as sharp and uncompromising as a Speciale, but it really romps down the straight. This motor is so strong. That was a good 145 on the speedo, but when you get to the corners, it's not a job to get it turned in, but its natural inclination is stability, and that means a bit of push at the front. So it's frustrating that you can't get it turned, but with being four-wheel drive, it's got brilliant traction. The carbon ceramic brakes have real bite and stamina, so you've got the confidence to push. We're on regular road tyres, we're not on any kind of track special, so again that means you're just lacking a bit of grit to lean on. But it's nitpicking really, because this is a fabulous thing. Into the ABS a bit there. Into this tricky double apex. Leads you onto the critical last section. I think I want to stay in third through here just to give me a bit more balance and throttle adjustability. Another big braking area, second gear. Get on the power, a little bit of oversteer. It's that understeer that really challenges you. Cross the line.
The R8 posts an impressive time of 1 minute 4.7, using its raw power to hit 143 miles an hour on Brighton's long straight. The Clio will need to muster all the corner speed it can to get close to that.
Okay, so if you hadn't already spotted it, we're in the Clio Cup race car. As contrasts go, between this and the Audi, it's pretty extreme. We're on slick tyres and they need some temperature. so I'll be weaving around for a bit, so I'll take the opportunity to talk you through the car a little. It's pretty closely based to the road car actually. It's 1.6 litre, 4-cylinder turbo. It's a little bit more power, 220 horsepower or so versus 200 in the regular road car. It's got a 6-speed sequential box, but unlike the road car, it's a proper race box, single clutch, paddle shift, and you only use the clutch pedal when you're pulling away and when you come to a halt. Otherwise, you just park your left foot to the side and brace yourself with it. It's got bigger disc brakes with no servo assistance and no ABS, so that's quite a departure from the road car. And obviously, race suspension and all the safety kit you can see around me here. The car races to a minimum weight of around 1,200 kilos with fuel and driver. I'm told it's about 1080 kilos without fluids or driver. So the basic car is lighter than the road car, and you can hear it's just an angry, buzzy little thing, very like a modern touring car really, which is the whole point, because it's designed as a feeder series for up-and-coming touring car races. So, you know, as soon as you get in it, it feels like a serious car, but it's not so fast or grippy or intimidating that you don't feel that you can begin to push it quite soon. Slick tyres are wonderful things compared to road tyres. You can just feel some temperature coming into them now, and you can just lean on the car that bit harder. This engine, like the road car, it doesn't rev very high, so when you get sucked into the whole I'm driving a race car thing, it's very easy to just click the limiter, but you've got a very clear array of shift lights above the LCD display. So you really just drive to those. It feels quite stiff over the bumps, it skips around, but the diff is magic. You just put your foot down, and far from running wide, the car actually pulls itself tighter, but still you need to exercise a little bit of discipline, because it's easy to just push the car into understeer, and when you're chasing fractions of a second, as the guys who race these are, for any sort of advantage, you can't afford to make the slightest mistake. It really is one of the more fascinating track battles we've done, because on the straights this feels quite flat compared to the Audi. The Audi absolutely flies down the straights as soon as you can get on the throttle, and this actually feels, well, like a 200 and something horsepower hot hatch. But through the corners and into the braking areas, you just can drive it with so much more conviction. So where the Audi flies down the straight, the Clio is going to love this really challenging direction change. You need to be careful with locking the brakes. You do get some warning and some feel, but still, it's only when you feel the car running deeper into the corner do you really know you've locked them. It's such an addictive little car to drive though, you can really hustle it. Use all the traction that diff can find. Try and brake deep into the corner, but not overload the front. There's a little bit of turbo lag, so you just need to try and anticipate that. And it's quite a fine line over the curbs. Wait for the shift lights. It just needs a 5.2 V10 down this bit. Through this fourth gear, direction change. Just come off the throttle a little bit. And across the line.
Amazingly, despite a 322 horsepower deficit and only just breaching 120 miles an hour on the straight, the grippy, super agile Clio gets within a tenth of a second of the Audi, stopping the clock with a 1 minute 4.8. Hot hatch indeed.